Hey, g'day! Today I'm going to show you how to do something super difficult, but also super cool. We're going to solo the Mallet of Zul'Farrak on a hunter. For those of you who are like, what's a Mallet of Zul'Farrak? I thought that dungeon wasn't even out yet. Here's the go. The mallet doesn't actually come from Zul'Farrak, rather it's like an attunement to the dungeon that's going to unlock an extra boss. The mallet actually comes from the hinterlands, and getting one is a two-step process. First of all, we're going to get a sacred mallet from Quiaja the Keeper, which is a level 50 elite caster, who stands next to Mortagyar, who is another level 50 elite caster, and is surrounded by lots of other high-level caster mobs as well. Then we're going to need to delve into the troll city of Jintha Alor, which is populated by high-level elite trolls. Right in the heart of the city, we're going to bang that sacred mallet on the altar to get the Mallet of Zul'Farrak. Once we have the mallet, we're ready for next phase. Next phase, the Zul'Farrak dungeon comes out, and we can use the mallet to summon an extra boss called Gazrilla. Gazrilla is needed for the carrot on a stick trinket, which you'll want to be getting while leveling from 40 to 50, so it's a great idea to have the mallet already prepared. And also, it's super fun soloing elite mobs that are 10 levels higher above you. So, let's start off with how to get the sacred mallet of Quiaja. We're going to want to start by heading around the back of the altar of Zul. There's lots of high level mobs at the front, but the back side of the altar is completely mob free for you. Once you're back here, there will be just a couple of mobs that we're going to need to kill just to make a path between us and Quiaja. The first one is this Vile Branch Witch Doctor. It has 3 abilities. It's got a ranged Shadow Bolt attack, it's got a heal, and it's got a hex. None of these should really give you too much of a problem, and you don't really need to kite or interrupt this mob. You can just trade shots with it and it will easily go down before you. If it ever does look just a little bit dicey, you can light of sight some Shadow Bolts, but even with pretty mediocre gear on this character, it's really not a problem at all. And the second mob to clear is the Vile Branch Sculper. It's a melee mob with an execute, but it's going to be easily kited around the platform with a couple of frost traps. And then the third and final mob is this Vile Branch Wolf Pup, who patrols around, so you might not see him straight away. He can patrol into us while we're making our pull though, so it's best to clear him. He has no abilities, and you can kite him just like you did the Sculper. Now that those 3 mobs are dead, go between these 2 trees just to the left of the platform that the Witch Doctor lived on, and you want to cast Eyes of the Beast. Head up the stone part and then jump off. As soon as you jump off, use dive. The goal here is to get to the top of the altar without any mobs getting a cast off on your pet, if that's possible. Then, we don't want to attack the mobs up at the top, that's important. Just stand near them until they cast on you. This will take between 0 and 5.5 seconds, and since they are so high level, they should all body pull at exactly the same time, which means that they are going to be on separate leashes, and we're going to be able to split pull them. Now, as soon as they start casting, jump down here onto this little ledge below, and just tuck right into the corner to line of sight them. This is an evade spot, so when we hit escape to cancel Eyes of the Beast, our pet would teleport to us within a second or 2. Now I have Quiaja targeted, and I'm looking at the target of target. When she switches from my pet to me, I'm going to wait just a few seconds, and then I'll set my pet back on her. I find Wind Serpent is the best for this, because it has a ranged attack, because as soon as the pet gets aggro, I instantly want to recall it, or it's going to die very, very fast. I mean, don't get me wrong, it probably still will die, we just want it to stay alive as long as possible. This gives me a little bit extra time on my leash, and you'll want to make sure that you've got a /target macro for Quiaja as well, so if you do lose the target, you can still get it back easily. Now, with those pet shenanigans, I've managed to get Quiaja by herself. The reason it's important to do it with your pet rather than trying to refresh the leash yourself is that all of those other casters will cast on you, and you really don't want to be taking extra damage before starting to fight Quiaja herself. It's going to be a kind of tough fight. I'm going to be using lots of consumables for it here, including shadow protection potions, but the more gear you have, and to be honest the better you play, the more smoothly it's going to go for you. The basic premise here is we want to use auto shot, multi-shot and chimera shot to kill her, as these have much less penalty than other things when fighting high level mobs. Then, to avoid dying ourselves, we're going to either line of sight or outrange her casts. Frost traps here can be nice, since when we line of sight a cast, she's going to run forwards until we're back in her vision, and we want to use each corner as many times as we can before we have to retreat to the next one. Now, when you get to this corner here, we don't really have many good spots behind us anymore, so we're going to have to engage Cheetah and loop back past her. You'll almost definitely be hit by a Shadow Bolt here, but that's okay, especially if you have Shadow Protection Potion, because you won't get dazed by Cheetah if all of the damage is absorbed. Alternatively, you could just toggle it off and then back on again, so that you don't have it on while you get hit. Also a big shout out here to my guildies Parkinator and Cuddles, who are providing me moral support up from the hill. While I did this kill entirely solo, I did come back again and kill her to get them their mallets as well. For juking the casts, we're going to want to make sure we get out of line of sight with about 1 second left on the cast. Don't be too greedy and push it too much, because even if it looks like you got out of line of sight right at the last moment, the cast can still go through due to the way player positions update on the server. Okay, we have the Sacred Mallet, but we still need to turn it into the Mallet of Zul'Farrak. You could corpse jump to get there, but that's a bit slow, so here's a route to get there deathless. We'll start by climbing up the mountain here. You might notice I have a couple of guildies following me around. Now you don't need any help to do this, I'm just showing them the way. When we come to this tree here by the wall, you go left around it and settle on the top of the wall. Follow it across, then when you get to the end of the wall, run up the stairs, then there's a bit more wall to run on. I've aggroed some mobs here, but that's okay. We just want to jump to the next segment of the wall, which is an evade spot. And here I missed the jump, so yeah, don't do that. But if you do miss it, you can just die here where you fall, and then go back as a ghost and get back to the evade spot. Then, when you're good and ready, run up the next lot of stairs, and make a beeline for this gap in the wall here. Be careful not to get hit from behind by the melee mobs, or you might get dazed off your mount, but fortunately lots of these mobs are ranged, and range attacks don't daze you. Then this gap in the wall here is an evade spot, so you can chill here until you're ready, you can eat up to full since you probably got hurt on the way, and then we're going to mount up and go to the next evade spot. There's a super close one right behind the stone block by the wall here, which you may or may not need, and then it's up the next stairs and make a right. Head through the arch here and hug the right wall until you come to this rock, which is an evade spot. From here, we're basically done. Just run up to the altar and go to the bottom step of these stairs. The one I just ran past isn't an evade spot, but most of those steps are, and this is nice and close to the altar. Then you'll just need to use a pet to distract all the mobs, run up to the altar and bang the mallet. Importantly for this, it's a very fast cast and it does not get interrupted if you get hit while channeling it. If mobs come back to you, just be quick and finish the job. It's actually fine if you die here, because getting back out is a bit of a pain, and you're probably just going to want to spirit res anyway to get home, or of course you could health out. And that is the Mallet of Zul'Farrak. Best of luck leveling to 50. Till next time, bye for now.